Hey friends, Kristen here. Today I want to share with you my vision for the reframe science community and how it can support the health of our bodies and our minds for ourselves and for the ones we care about. So, for me, I've been thinking about what are the components in order to support the longevity and happiness of people I know. And to begin with that, I'll tell you a bit of a personal story. So I grew up in a household where my dad's been super sick since I was really young, and what I witnessed was that it was like an endless situation where we keep trying to figure out how to look after my father's health. But at the end of the day, the suffering that's involved here never ceases because it's sort of like when it's like a whack-a-mole situation. There's always something going wrong at one particular time. And that really led me to this pursuit of understanding the mind from a neuroscience perspective and also from a Buddhist perspective to understand the root of suffering that is very much caused by the inevitability of our mortality and also the duration of being sick before we even get to die, right? There's a lot of suffering involved here. So, what can I do in order to help alleviate the situation of being a human, where we are subjected to these events that we, deep in our hearts don't want them to be true. And so, in order to do that, I felt like I can potentially contribute some of the things I've learned from working in the biotech and pharmaceutical industry for a number of years, in order to understand how the healthcare system and what I can share with others so that they may also be able to understand, like, okay, like it's a very complex thing in order to take care of our bodies already. Like, what can I truly do to make sure that at least that aspect we're all doing the best job possible. And then separately, or actually it's not separately, it's at the same time, how can we make sure that in our pursuit of health that we're not neglecting understanding our motivation behind why we are caring about our health, which has to do with our fear of aging and mortality? And how can we make sure that we are actually addressing the fear rather than trying to avoid it, which is something, it's a game that no one can ever win, right? So, in order to do that, the Reframe community, what I would like to share and continue to build is, first of all, like a science education. Like, if all of us can understand the scientific data that is emerging every day, that's improving our ability to take care of ourselves and through the healthcare system, then that will allow all of us to help each other to understand, okay, like, what is the thing that we can do that is based on actual peer-reviewed evidence that is vetted by a bunch of scientists, vetted by data from a lot of sadly animals and a lot of humans, that we can then have some basis for the truth and veracity of such data. And also, what can we do to understand the healthcare system itself? In order to do that, I've started building out Reframe Daily, and the purpose of it really is the scientific education piece, right? I know a lot of science is really hard to read, unfortunately. So I'm now leveraging AI to help us understand the science by having it do a lot of translation, so that we can all like read it and actually understand what is going on. So that's one piece of it, the science education. The other piece of it is navigating the healthcare system. So, having worked and seen how the sausage is made, like especially in the United States, where the healthcare system is extremely complex and convoluted, I can share some of the aspects of understanding. Okay, how do you find a good doctor? How do you get the insurance to pay for your healthcare needs? So that's something that I've also been building knowledge through talking to my friends in industry, in order to articulate like what is the system that a lot of pharmaceutical companies and biotech companies use to vet for good healthcare providers. We actually have an algorithm of sorts in order to figure that out. We And also, like, what is the way to talk to insurance companies so that you don't slip through a system and not be adequately compensated based on the premiums that you're already paying. And that's another piece that I'm beginning to solve with the help of my friends as well. So you can see I'm trying to build these like practical puzzle pieces in order to make increase the probability of a friend like you having access to this knowledge and also being able to apply it should the need arises. And of course, I always say I hope you never need to know this information, but if it does come up, like what can we do? There's also the caregiver aspect, right? I began with talking about my dad, but really the person who suffered the most is my mom because she has to do so much of caretaking. And off as we get older, if you're a millennial, like I think you're starting to realize it too. Like our parents are getting older, like grandparents are getting older. Like oftentimes the burden is not ourselves getting sick; it's the people we know getting sick. So then, like, what can we do as caregivers in order to help them access the healthcare system, help them understand what medicines may be appropriate, or at least like talk to the right healthcare providers to get the medicine, and also in order to not be burnt out, because I think that's the other psychological and spiritual aspect of being human right now is like it is a huge burden to take care of someone who's sick. So I hope that the reframe community can be a place of refuge where we can have this open dialogue to talk about what is it like, what is going on, like is there anything that we can do to help each other out when we see that our friends are having to take care of family. There's a lot of opportunity for shared knowledge here. And then the other aspect is access and understanding of new healthcare products, right? Because whether no matter what ends of the political spectrum you are, like right now we're at a place where a lot of these new innovations are popping up, which look really good on the surface, but like it would be even better if we can be able to share information with each other about these new tools or like devices or biomarker testing, these new sorts of healthcare products that are out there, and so that we can generate the body of knowledge with each other to be like, okay, is this actually a good product or not? There is this lack of a Yelp-like system right now that we can all use, and I feel like the Reframe community could potentially be a place where we can all openly discuss whether these products are actually beneficial or not. And so the other aspect is that if our community continues to grow, then I'm able to speak on our behalf and to get partnerships and deals from these healthcare companies so that we can get a better accessibility or discounts to these products so that we can test it and be like, okay, is this good or not? So there's a lot of aspects of health that we can do in a put ourselves in a much more leveraged position if we're able to band together as a community. And so I want you to I want to connect with you in order to share this message to so that you can be aware that this is what the reframe community is really about. And what I've shared so far is the more physical health aspects and how, because there are so many aspects of healthcare that are very complex and very hard to navigate, it would be so much better if we can do so in community in order to figure things out together. And so in tomorrow's video, I will go on more about the taking care of our minds portion of reframe, which is equally as important. And it's almost like complementary to our pursuit of looking after each other. Something I like to think about since I play video games, maybe this resonates with you too. If you did, it's almost like the idea of HP and mana. Like we usually have these two meters as we're controlling a video game character. So I like to think of Reframe as a place where you can replenish your health points and you can replenish your mana, so that your character can be healed holistically, essentially. So yeah, I'll end this video here for now. This is my attempt at also figuring out how to concisely communicate what Reframe is about. So I hope look forward to sharing with you more takes on what I hope the vision of this place, this community could be.